gotta enjoy it. I mean, there's been a lot of tragedy. There's too many things where like at some point you just have to say, I'm ready to live, whatever that looks like. I want to experience things. I want to do things. Doesn't have to be lots of money or fancy things, but even just taking a day and going half an hour drive somewhere you've never been and just walk around a little town or do something different. Like that's traveling, that's working and traveling.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. I'd like to give a big thank you to Superbill for sponsoring this episode of our show. Superbill supports you as a provider while making it easy for your clients to get money back for out-of-network care. They offer free benefits checks and submit your client's super bills directly to their insurance so they can be reimbursed faster and save money on their therapy visits. Learn more at thesuperbill.com/Kim Tolson. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I'm so excited to have my friend, Dr. Lisa Lovelace, here with me today. She is amazing. So I'm going to let her tell you all about her and her journey, but I'm just so glad to have you here, Lisa, to hear about your traveling therapist journey because everybody's is different, you know?
It certainly is. Thanks for having me, Kim.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. And Lisa's also, in this podcast, I also talk about like the entrepreneurial, like therapist space too. And we do a lot of talking about that, like how to manage multiple income streams and be therapists and travel and work all that into our lifestyle.
How we manage it? Not well.
Not well. Before I hit record, we were just talking about, it's like, oh my God, Lisa's got a launch going on right now. I'm getting ready to do a launch. And it's like, it's stressful managing all these moving parts. And then we're trying to travel on top of it. So
yeah.
Anyway, so let me start with Lisa and say, how did you go from just being your typical therapist to a traveling therapist? Let's start there.
Yes. Well, awesome topic, first of all, like such an amazing thing because this was never in like anybody's view years ago. And when I first started doing online work, it was like in 2012, and it's not like anyone was traveling. Like I just felt like it was just online work in New York when I was trying to meet my clients there when I moved to Minnesota, and I worked at a clinic. Like I worked full time. I saw clients back to back. There was no traveling. You had to take PTO and you had to, you had to plan it and everything.
Totally.
And you didn't see clients when you were traveling. So it's just so different. And then expanding into a group practice, and then like the pandemic happens, and then like telehealth is exploded, right? And so It's very interesting of like, sometimes you need an external push to realize that you can live differently and work differently. I'm like, why didn't I think of this in 2012? Like, I felt like I had to be home in my home office. Like you get so inundated. Like, this is what work looks like, right?
And it's so funny because you were like on the forefront really of like an online practice. Like, was it 2012 when you started actually doing the online practice thing? Like nobody had heard of it then. I mean, like nobody.
Oh, I mean, I was using Skype. I, had nothing HIPAA. I didn't even know what HIPAA was. Like, and it's crazy because I'm like, I'm a therapist, and clearly, like, don't tell anybody who you're seeing, and don't have your confidential, paper charts that we had throughout the years in Brooklyn, New York, when I was working there. And like, it's so crazy. Like, you don't think of it. And like, I was doing this forever, and I expanded to the group in 2016. I started, and then 2017, we opened the virtual doors. But like, honestly, even then it was like, I'm in my office. And if I was like at my parents' house, which they live closer to the city, at the time my little one was at school close to the city. So like, I even felt, I'm like, I am in a secure place. Like, it's just a different location. This is where I grew up, or whatever the case might be. So it's like, even if I traveled 20 minutes to my parents' house, I felt so weird. Like this shouldn't happen,
Yeah, like this is
So
not okay to be outside of my typical,
outside,
even
yeah.
online environment.
Or like my background, if I sit in my office, even to this day, if I sit here and they know me in this chair,
Yeah.
I have a chair right here that the computer's on, but then I have like more of my professional diplomas on that wall. So if I sit in my like professional chair, they're like, where are you? Like, this
Where are
is
you right now?
screwing me up. Like,
I know that comes up over and over again in this podcast. I think who was it? Tamara Howell, I think, was saying like, because she does like a coaching on like how to love online therapy. I think that's the name of hers, and she was talking about like coaching therapists to have the same background. Like this is a virtual background I have, and
yeah.
to take it with you everywhere you go, so you don't even have to like talk about that question. But you're right. When things are different, clients do notice that, and you have to like have the discussion then.
You do. I mean, that's really cool about the virtual background now is if you use Zoom,
Yeah.
you can do that. We use Spruce. They don't have that, or Google Meets or
Oh.
Doxy. Like you don't have that if you don't use Zoom. I mean, I have a professional Zoom account, but not every therapist is going to pay for that to be the
Yeah.
account, or they're using their medical record. So I try to utilize that as like a therapeutic intervention talking point of like, I remember in my office when I used to have one and I would change the furniture, I would in the lobby say, listen, I changed where the couch and the chairs are. We had to make a different whatever. We got something different. I would prepare them as we walked back to my
Mm.
office. And some people would cry because
Oh
it just was
gosh.
so dysregulating that their safe place changed.
Yes.
And so, like, I do that to this day of like, you might notice my background is different. Like, I'm still in the same room or I'm at my parents or wherever I'm at, if, wherever it needs to be. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's such an interesting observation to like put out there and then to see what they come up with might be different that day. You're doing something different and it's making them think and feel differently.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember when I went all online in the beginning and I had one client, he still to this day says to me, I miss your office. I miss being in your office with you.
Oh,
And it's
no,
like,
it's
oh
so
my gosh, that
true.
was like his only safe place. So it's this is a whole different topic, but yeah, it's so interesting, like the environment and what we present to our clients.
But when we talk about traveling, we
Mhm.
are in different places and spaces and backgrounds and Wi-Fi and everything. And so it's like we are thinking like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing for us. But like, how is it impacting our clients? Like some love it and they're
Yeah.
like, show me your pool or whatever. And others
Yeah.
might get dysregulated. So it's definitely like a point of therapeutic, I think, discussion sometimes of like,
Mhm.
how is this for you if I'm in different places, because we do get to travel now and like online is not this thing where like I have to be in this one office. Like I can be wherever I want to be, and that's the most amazing thing about it for my mental health or my life.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I've noticed, I mean, it's been a challenge for me since I've been a digital nomad. Like, never, like, even today, the Wi Fi was acting up this morning, and I've had 3 meetings today, and it's like, it's a little dysregulating for me at times. Like, I'm probably
Yeah.
not as calm. I don't know if I present that way to my clients, but yeah, I can tell that, it's something I've got to pay attention to too, like how this is affecting my like nervous system, and how I'm presenting to my clients even. Like if I'm scattered, if the Wi-Fi is not working right, all of that.
Well, it's all that muscle memory and monotony of just being in the same place. There's pros and cons to it. Like when you're
Yeah.
in a different place, you're going to have different energy too because of where you're at, or like you said, if something's working or not. But it's kind of cool because you never know, is this going to like move my client actually in a different direction if we're a little different? Like we
Good.
don't always have to be the same either. And that also models for them, like, go, maybe they can't be in a different state if you're not licensed there, but like
Right.
I'm in SciPac, so I'm like, go.
Yeah, go to these
Oh,
30
right.
states.
Yeah, I can see you in like half the country or more. So it's like,
Oh, I love that
right.
side
Like
pack. Yeah.
you can both be modeling that behavior for each other if they can.
That's so cool. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, so even when you were online since 2012, you had this mentality like, I've got to stay where I am. I can't go other
Yeah.
places. So like, when did that shift for you? Because I remember you were down in Hollywood, Florida visiting and we got to hang out, which was so fun. But I can't remember how long you said, but did you say at the time it had been like 2 years or something
Oh,
since, I mean,
yeah.
I know COVID and everything, but since you had really like gone on vacation and worked and did that whole thing.
100%. I mean, obviously, we were with COVID, like everything shut down, and I was still at my clinic. And I realized I didn't need to be there anymore. So for people realizing like you can do online work and that's a dream of yours, of like, you could do it. And it took me a long time to like have my in-person and my online. And I realized it. And once COVID happened, I'm like, okay, I'm done. And I quit that job in like January of 2021. So it hasn't even been that long. So it's like in my head, it's only been like a little over a year, like 2 years because COVID. And I'm like, whoa, like, let's go down to Florida and see our family. And now COVID. And for us, we had my little one with the vaccine and whatever. And that was important to us. But, so it's like we could go and like, we have Wi-Fi there and I can have my client calls if needed. I can have networking calls. Whatever it is I was doing, I could have in that space and create that privacy. And then like, after I'm done, I can go out to the beach or, have my life. So it was definitely like freeing to not be in the clinic work and to just have just my online practice. Of course, I have the business too. So I have my own online clients and then I have, 23 plus clinicians and then the whole business. I mean, it's cuckoo bananas, so it's like, but then what helped too to be more of a traveling entrepreneur, a traveling group practice owner is because we don't have a brick and mortar. And that's what I teach people is how to build an online practice.
Right.
Like you don't have the confines. What is that word? Confines?
Yeah.
Not confined. I guess that's right. Like, oh, I have to be here to make sure we have toilet paper and we have nobody slipped and fell on ice and like this doesn't work or someone didn't show up or someone's locked out of like, I don't have to deal with any of that. Yeah. And I'm able to hire remote staff. Even though there's one person that I hired, she lives in Minnesota, we'll meet up like once a month at my physical space. I call it my office, but it's like my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law all share this like office space. So I can go there when I want. Kick my dad out.
That's good.
It's not that fancy, but it works great. And that's where I get my mail. So we'll meet up there. So we're in person, but like the rest of the time, I've one in the Philippines, I've one in Kentucky and Leah's in California and like, everybody's all over the country. So my virtual assistants can be anywhere and help me run the business from anywhere. So I don't have to feel like I'm doing everything again. And I can't even enjoy the space that I'm at that in Florida. And then we went to Disney like 2 weeks later and I could be like, let's go. Like, let's use our points or whatever. I got this. We just were like, we had all these days off school. We didn't know why it came up and we're just like, screw it. It's been 2 years since we've gone anywhere. And now we went to 2 different places in Florida for 2.5 weeks the first time and 1 full week the next time. And it's like, it was amazing.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. It's so exciting. Yeah. And exactly what you're saying, like I'm finding the more I delegate out, if I could find the right people to work for me that I could trust to do everything the right way, the more I could do that. Exactly. The more I could do that.
Like I do it, please. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the more I can like let go of some of that stuff, it frees up time, especially like when we're traveling to all these different places. Like we're in Arizona for 11 days. Like there's like all the stuff I want to do, but I'm still trying to run businesses but being able to delegate out was an eye opener for me too, to like let go of just trying to do every single thing to give me time to just go explore and travel and live my life. Yeah.
And I think sometimes even for solo, it's like, maybe you don't have a group practice you're running. Maybe you don't have these side hustles you're doing, but still like having your own solo practice, like maybe you have to do insurance billing, or maybe you don't have automatic scheduling, or maybe you want to hire somebody even just a few hours a week to just check your inbox or whatever. So you're not inundated with it and you can travel and enjoy. I mean, it's still so important to make sure that you're not waiting to delegate like some people do. 6 years too late.
Pointing at herself, by the way.
I'm like, I'm fine. I can do this. Like, and I'm literally like, when I explained to Amanda, who's shadowed me for 3 months virtually, she's like, you should see like her room and her desk and all these sticky notes and papers. And I'm like, is that really how much I'm doing? Like, it's almost like I didn't quite realize it in reality because it's just all in my head. And
Yeah.
We don't want to have things just all be in our head. We want to have somebody to know what to do in case of emergency or whatever. So I would encourage people to like have that help hand earlier than 6 years into it.
Yeah, 6 years into it.
But you can go and travel.
Yes.
Have more experiences if you can.
Yeah. So when you were down in Hollywood, how are you managing that? Because those of you that don't know, Lisa, she does have an online group therapy practice, and she's got clinicians in like how many states now? Like
they're in like 16 states.
Wow.
We have 4 of us psychologists side-packed, so like virtually we can see, but I think we're like physically there's like 23, and then like a handful of like interns and stuff in South Carolina, but mostly about 15, 16 physical states. Yeah. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. So when you were down in Hollywood for that vacation, were you just like working in blocks, or had you already started delegating stuff, or how were you managing that? I mean, I know it was like, you were there like 3-4 weeks or something?
We were there, yeah. The first time we were actually there 2.5 weeks because of all the flights over New Year's were going crazy. So we stayed like 3 extra days. So, and then we went down to the Keys to spend time with some family. Every year they have my husband's family goes down the Keys. So that's like a tradition they've done since they were little. So we had to pack up and go. So really like my working times were usually in the morning because we're very lazy as a family. We are not like a get up at 6 and go. We're like, wake up at 7:30 and hang out, watch TV, have breakfast. And then like, it's 10 by the time we do something.
Yeah.
But then, we go to bed at like 11:30 or whatever. My little one maybe more like 9. So we're like kind of a later family and a very slow in the morning. So I would like work in the morning, and it was nice. It was an hour later for East Coast, but an hour earlier for Midwest. And then even, so it's like, I would just choose those down times where my family was taking care of everyone, doing anything. Then we'd go to the beach, we'd go out, we'd do whatever. And then we'd have another lull where we'd come back and everybody was exhausted and sandy and gross from the, ocean or whatever. And then there'd be another lull like before dinner. So I'd kind of pocket things based on our activities. And then I don't recall having like any crises, but I do recall the good faith estimate stuff was all coming out. And everybody learned about it between Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's. And like, we were all crazy about it. So that put a damper in things, and I had to watch a training. And then I felt like as a group practice owner, here's a whole new thing y'all have to learn. So
oh my God,
there were times where I felt like I was maybe missing out on sun or whatever, and they had to go do something because I had to like learn and take care of something. But honestly, like in December, I would 100% rather do that and see the beach and see the sun out the window and work. And my mood was so much better anyways than being like here where it's still today, like snowing at the end of April. Like,
oh my gosh.
So, just to even like my own mood and my own family, like my little one is first grade, like pull him as many times as you want. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like school, whatever. He knows his ABCs were good. So it's like, whatever, we need that family time and that experiential time. And so I think too, like it's nice for my family, my child, and luckily my husband works from home too. So he gets that, not as flexible because he doesn't make his own schedule, but for my little one to be like, you can work from anywhere and we can have family experiences. And it's not like only 1 or 2 times a year when you do your PTO. Like we can do it we can take little breaks and go during the week or something. And, whatever we want to do from that work from home kind of remote, feeling. And so like, there's so many beautiful things that come with the ability from like going back to what we were talking about of like, just your background. Like there's some cool stuff that can happen with clients, even though it's hard, like it pushes them and it pushes you as a therapist when you're having different, like you're not like on monotony drive, like everything's the same. You don't get like even refreshed. Even if you're anxious about the Wi-Fi, your brain is then different when you meet with that client. So it's like, there's cool stuff that can happen from being different places. I think.
I love that perspective. Yeah, absolutely. Now, here's a question for my listeners. Do you offer your clients a super bill for their therapy visits? And do you know if your clients are actually successful in navigating their benefits and getting reimbursed? Dealing with insurance is probably your least favorite part of being a therapist, and you can bet your clients don't enjoy the hassle either. Thankfully, there's Superbill, a company that supports you as a provider and helps your clients utilize their out-of-network benefits. Here's how it works. Superbill does a free benefits check. If the client has out-of-network coverage, Superbill's team of experts submits their superbills directly to the insurance payer. From there, your client can track their reimbursement status online and lean on Superbill's team to resolve any rejected claims. When your clients save time and money on their therapy, you can retain them longer, and it's a win-win situation. Let Superbill do the heavy lifting for seamless out-of-network insurance claims. Visit thesuperbill.com/Kim Tolson to sign up. That's thesuperbill.com/KYMTOLSON. And get your first month free when you use the promo code Kim Tolson. And we kind of touched on it, but since you're a psychologist, you do have SIPAC, so you don't have to worry about it as much, the licensure in different states, how like LCSWs do. We have to check every state. Like recently I was in Texas, and once I booked the Airbnb, I realized I wasn't even allowed to practice in Texas. I don't know if I told you about that. Yeah, no. I was like, crap, I can't.
You needed to be licensed there.
Yes, to be able to see my Virginia clients. I was like, actually, I created this free guide for traveling therapists, and one of the therapists in my traveling therapist group said, yeah, I just realized I can't work in Texas. I was like, what? Oh my God, that's how I figured it out. I didn't even look at my own guid. She posted that in the group.
Oh, that is so funny, Kim. You're like, thank you for telling me what I know.
I was like, wow, I did not even know that. So I had to like scramble.
Interesting, because with SIPAC, one of their rules is actually you have to designate a home state. So my home state is Minnesota. So technically, following the laws and the rules of SIPAC, I can't see a client if I'm not in Minnesota.
Oh.
If I'm, let's say, in Missouri, even though it's a SIPAC state, if I'm seeing somebody who's not in Minnesota or Wisconsin, like where I'm actually licensed, technically you're not supposed to see them. So you have to be in your home state. I don't know why,
Oh, okay. So you still would have to check with the other state to see, like I did. Like I can't practice out of Texas, but I'm in Arizona, right. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So just because you're in SIPAC, and I can see anybody from where I'm at now, if I leave Minnesota, because that's my designated home state, technically I'm not supposed to see my clients who are in states I'm not licensed. I have SIPAC, whatever they call it, certificate or registration or whatever, but that's a little hiccup in that. But I mean, I'm licensed Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, telehealth, and Florida.
Okay.
So I've got like those places covered. But yeah, like I have like college kiddos in Virginia and Maine, and I use my SIPAC to see them.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit tricky. You kind of have to pinpoint who can you see and where are they? And
I seriously did not know that. In my mind, it like went both ways, but I guess it doesn't. It only goes where the client is with the SIPAC.
Yeah. They're like, here's a little. Here's an inch. Like, yeah, like one day we need to just eradicate all this stuff here. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I get it that they want people, but there's a national exam. Let's just have, I get that US might be different than Canada, might be different than abroad, but like, what's truly the difference that I'm doing in Iowa versus Minnesota versus Virginia? Like,
wow,
all about the money.
It is. Oh my gosh. Well, the LPCs almost have 10 states signed on to their compact licensure. So that's going to be great if that passes. I hope it'll just open the door for everybody. I
mean, I still love it. I'm still so happy about it. And we get a ton of people randomly, organically from our website just saying, oh, I saw you do this. I'm like, we just have one little landing page that doesn't really have that many keywords on it. So I'm like, I don't know how.
Wow.
Finding it. Yeah. So I think it's just a need. People are really looking outside the box and, for more therapists to be licensed in more states, and then you can travel in more states and, see people in other states too. Like everybody wins.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Totally. So So we know that you've got the practice, but you've also got this side hustle, which I'm so into, like these different, income streams. And yours is teaching people how to build an online group therapy practice and all of that. So could you tell us a little bit about that, like how you're managing that lifestyle and still trying to, like, I don't know, go places and live your life and manage multiple income streams and your group
Yeah.
practice and
Yeah.
just how's that
How?
going for
I
you?
mean, like I said at the beginning, like not well. I mean, I did that video a long time ago of like, here's my day in the life for
Oh,
a
I
few
love
days.
that.
And it was like, all I did was like basically eat. That's kind of how I guess what I do.
Yeah.
I think it's very similar, to it's actually easier, I think, to have like
Yeah.
a side hustle because there you
Mhm.
don't have those laws and the regulations and the whole thing. But like for me, I always think of it of like my practice is like 70% of where I put my time, my energy, because that's like I'm building and I want my therapist to be happy. And then 30% of my time and energy minus launch month, then it's like it's
Oh
still
my
flipped,
gosh.
but like my energy and time goes into the course and helping other therapists because I love that. I love seeing them succeed. And like I'm watching like these therapists that went from like, can you help me? And we started, and like 6 to 9 months later, they're surpassing me with like these wellness clinics, and they've got a dietitian and a med person. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm like, you want like your student to be better than the teacher, right? You're
Right?
like, there you go, fly off, little bird. You're just like, oh, and to just watch and to see like therapists take their expertise and create something that I
Mhm.
feel like I've been doing for a long time. And it's inspiring, to see,
Yeah.
and the communities need it. And, you can build your side hustle from anywhere and connect with whoever you're helping. I say
Yeah,
therapist,
yeah.
that's who I'm helping, but anybody, like, you want to write a book, or you want to do some sort of podcast, or you want to do YouTube videos, or you make worksheets or whatever, like take something that you love, and then you can utilize that money to maybe see less clients to then travel more efficiently, right? So you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to pull from my $100 over here, and I maybe don't have to see one or two clients over here, so I can go and experience a hike, or a cruise, or add a day or something where you're not feeling like financially you have to still see 12 clients in a day, and you're in beautiful New Mexico and you
Exactly.
can't do anything. So I think side hustles
Exactly.
allow you that opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm finding too. It's so much easier to, like, on an 8-hour drive to a new state, like answer emails in the car, rather than like, oh my God, we got to find a library so I could pull over and see a client right
Oh
now.
yeah, have that confidential space. Like I'm listening to
Exactly.
my Voxers all the time with my team, and I'm like, it's not so restrictive. So, having that freedom goes beyond like, the HIPAA, and it goes beyond like financial and just kind of that remote ability to like
Hmm.
engage wherever you want, and that you're still making income. And like that's why I love the group. That is, I mean, I don't really call it a side hustle because it's not a side hustle. It's like a main hustle, but it's not even a hustle. I don't know. It's different, but it provides income where I get to choose how many clients I want to see, and my fees are, more expensive, and you know what
Hmm.
I mean? So it's like I can see less and provide more of that concierge as my own therapy, like with my clients, and then run the group, and then do the side hustle and be doing it from anywhere with restrictions with side
Right,
packs,
right, of
but like for
course.
the most part. And it makes your life so much richer. I don't know.
I
It's like,
agree.
look what you guys can do this too, and you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
everybody, come
Exactly.
on.
That's what I try to tell everybody. I'm like, because people are like, I can't travel. I've got to see all these clients. And I'm like, think of something, that you're really passionate about and put together like a 30-minute workshop or something, just put it on your website, generate some income that way so you can cut back on client time.
Totally. And I
Yeah.
think people have wait lists now. Maybe they've never had so many wait lists. And like
Yes.
you can hire just one clinician. You can hire
Yes.
them as a W-2. I know people get scared of that. You can, bring them on, as my lawyer recently told me, it's affiliate with. You don't hire
Oh,
an IC you're affiliated with or something. I'm like, what? See, I'm always still learning. So I'm like hiring an IC, and he's like, well, it's not really what you're supposed to say. And I'm like,
Oh.
oh, thanks. Literally learned that like last month. So always
Always
learning,
learning.
but
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. So, it's kind of an ever learning process, but
Yes.
people can do so many things to have that extra income, reduce their caseload, travel more. And when you're a happier clinician or business owner, like
Exactly.
only
Right.
going to go well for you.
That's right. Yeah, that's so true. Lisa's been on me for like years now to try to start a group practice. I'm so resistant to it, but you're so right. Like if you've got a wait list, like it's like a no-brainer almost in a way. You just, well, especially with Lisa, because she's got like these done for you, like legal packages or whatever, just get you right on board with it. But once you do that, I mean, it is income. There's not much
It's
management
income. It's
if you
management.
hire well.
You have to hire well, and
Yeah.
you don't have to hire too many people. If you just want to hire one person or,
Yeah.
get an IC on board, like, but it is still going to take time and energy away because you're learning something completely new.
True.
So whether you do that in this state or that state or international, whatever, you still have to plan accordingly. If you're going to start a new endeavor, anything's like kind of like I have to learn how to play the piano now. And I've
Right.
never played, but maybe you've played the guitar, so you at least know how music goes, right? Like you're a therapist, so you know how it goes, but being a business owner or a side hustle owner, or, you learn so much more about different aspects. And so
Yeah.
marketing to SEO to, business and legal. And there's so much you learn that maybe we don't do as much as solo online practice owners, but I mean,
Hmm.
there's still a lot to learn for that too, if you came
I'm
from
sure.
community mental health. So like every step you take in growth, you know,
Yeah. And I've heard you say before, like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like just get it going and you'll perfect it as you go. Right. Hmm.
you got to start. Like,
That's with everything. It's like it's never going to be perfect.
no, it's
Like I
my
said
never.
before we hit record, we're talking about our launches and just how stressful it can be at times.
Oh, so
Just try to figure out all the moving pieces because I mean, we don't know about launching or, I mean, it's something we've just kind of learned over time, with these
email
products.
automation and tech integration. I'm like, stay in my swim lane. Like that's not my lane. Like, but it's nice that when you are remote, you can have all of your helpers be remote too. And you're not like in an office looking at your computer plugged into the wall. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. I
It
mean,
is. It is.
get
And
out,
after
get
this, I'm
traveling.
going hiking in Arizona. It's like it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta enjoy it. I mean, there's been a lot of tragedy. There's, too many things where like at some point you just have to say, I'm ready to live, whatever that looks like. I want to experience things. I want to do things. Doesn't have to be lots of money or fancy things, but like
Yeah.
even just taking a day and like going half an hour drive somewhere you've never been and just walk around a little town or do something different. Like that's traveling, that's working and traveling. Like you can look at your phone and bring your laptop in the car and do what you got to do, but take that time to like have new sights and sounds. We teach our clients this all the time. Like,
Yeah.
why aren't we doing it?
Exactly. Exactly. And I just flashed on a couple of lives you've done from like the soccer field, like
Oh,
you just make it
totally.
work. Or gymnastics or somewhere. Yeah.
Like here I am. Here's real
Yeah.
life, everybody. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like it's nice to be able to live and work and there, you have to be careful with the boundaries. Like I don't really have any, right? So I'm trying to figure out like what I want to make them to be. But you're like, oh, like I do need to maybe stop working at 10 or 11,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely fun. And I'm super glad that like you are making this aspect of therapists' lives being known because even like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even thought of it, like,
Yeah.
why not? I was doing online work. What's the difference? But like, you have to be shown and told, and like for people to say, like, you can do this and here's how to do it. So thank you for bringing this to
Oh my
everyone's
gosh.
attention.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've tried. I just love it so much. I just want everybody to know they can do it. And I don't want them to wait, until like you're
Yeah.
retired. Like my mom, right? She's retired, but she can barely walk.
Yeah.
It's like she
You
can't
have
go
to
to
enjoy
like
it.
these towns and explore and walk around. It's like too much exertion for her. So it's like do it now when you
When you can.
can. Yeah.
100% agree. I agree with
Yeah.
you. I love that you're letting people giving them permission to do it and teaching them how to do it is, you know, with technology now, there's no reason we shouldn't be doing it.
Right. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So how do people find you if they want to like learn how to build their online group practice, or how do they get a hold of you?
So come on over to Facebook page. It's called How to Build an Online Therapy Group Practice. You can follow me at Synergy eTherapy, Instagram and Facebook. There's another Facebook group that's kind of free flowing to connect therapists and group practice owners. It's called Therapists Looking to Join a Group Practice. And then email me, Dr. Lisa, DRLISA at synergyetherapy.com. And our website is synergyetherapy.com. I kind of have it all mushed together. I don't really have it separated with like this whole other thing. My accountant was like, you're fine. It's all under the same umbrella. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I just can't manage more. Like, I'm like, this is good.
I hear you. Yeah, because I struggle with it too. Like I had to put it all under like the traveling therapist because it's just too much. It's like, I don't know. I've got insurance billing and traveling and kimtolson.com and it's just, I don't know. I don't know what my brand is or whatever you call it, but it's, it's working all right.
It's you, and that's what it is. And that's all it needs to be, like everyone knows you, which is good because you're amazing and doing so many cool things. So thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you.
Excited to be here. Always game to see you. And next time you're coming to Minnesota in the not the winter, you don't have to come in the winter, but you need to do a Minnesota like summer boat, camping kind of like Midwest thing.
Well, we're kind of making our way up. Like we're going to go Utah and Colorado after this. And then I think we're going to go up to Montana and probably come back around like that direction. So maybe I'll run into you.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be fun. I'll take it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I just love talking with you. And I'll put all this information in the show notes too, in case anybody wants to get a hold of you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Have a good day, everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.